Nice to see you, dear audiences. I'm going to present Universal Flu Vaccine and Artificial Pandemic by Infectious Attenuated Live Vaccine to save people from dangerous wild-type new influenza pandemic. The latter is named Operation Backfire. I'm Yoshinori Hayakawa, and this team was presented in Narita, Tokyo, February 27th, 2019, at second Global Expert Meeting on Infectious Diseases. In 1918, influenza pandemic killed 50 million to 100 million people in the world. The total population at that time was 2.2 million. Present population is 7.2 million. The picture on the right-hand side is a book written by Tom King, and in the figure, people are wearing masks to prevent infection of influenza pandemic. And this is a history of Philadelphia, where they have so many victims of pandemic. So they are digging holes to bury victims, but the number of victims increased rapidly, so they can no more dig holes by shovels, by human power. So they introduced steam shovel to dig many holes. Expert won in Davos Summit that global pandemic is unstoppable. It was January 26, 2018. Dr. Sylvie Vliand, a specialist in infectious diseases at the World Health Organization, added, "We know that it is coming, but we have no way to stop it. But I insist that global pandemic is stoppable." First, I will introduce a basic concept of influenza. Although you know much about influenza. First, seasonal influenza. Every year, winter is the influenza season in Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere. In tropical and subtropical zone, influenza season is whole year. Slight antigenic changes of virus causes seasonal influenza. Every year, inactivated vaccine is created, and in some cases, live nasal vaccine, which is named flu mist, is used. Live nasal vaccine, flu mist, is not infectious. New influenza. New combination of two virus surface glycoproteins, HA1 to 18 kind, and NA1 to 11 kind, causes pandemic as nobody has immunity for it. The timing of pandemic does not depend on season. For new influenza, manufacturing vaccine takes approximately 6 months, so at the beginning of pandemic, vaccine is not available. And moreover, we have the rapid mobile, that is airplane, so vaccine seems to be quite easily spread. The influenza will quite easily spread all over the world. So this 6 months may kill many people. Universal flu vaccine. The world's first universal flu vaccine is already undergoing clinical trial. Vaccine of antibodies not against two proteins at the surface of protrusion, HA hemagglutinin, 18 different types, and new or neuraminidase, 11 different types, but vaccine of antibodies against the stem typically remain unchanged. And that may be effective to small changes of surface protrusions, HA and NA, but may be effective to dangerous new influenza, which may kill 300 million to 600 million people. Universal flu vaccine, if created, will save many people from dangerous new flu pandemic. But for many people, many in developing countries cannot afford to pay for universal flu vaccine, and many of them may be victimized. And moreover, yes. So we have to. We can save many people in poor people who cannot afford universal flu vaccine shot. Against bird flu H7N9, small-scale man-to-man transmission is now occurring, but continuous man-to-man transmission is not yet occurring. As the virulence is high, patients die soon and not have time to transfer virus to another person. It is said that when virulence becomes low, so that death rate becomes 30 to 20%, H7N9 is feared to cause pandemic. By new bird type influenza pandemic H7N9, approximately 600 million to 300 million people are feared to be victimized. This proposal is to decrease number of victims less than 1,000. Now I'm talking about Operation Backfire. First, I will introduce appearing members. First, this is a ferret. It has the same nature to influenza with men. It has human-like alpha-2,6 linked cellocytes, while birds is alpha-2,3, so is a little different. So it is rather rare to be transmitted from birds to human. Second is green fluorescent protein. This was investigated by Osamu Shimomura, who has obtained Nobel Prize. This is a picture of a mouse whose DNA has been labeled by green fluorescence protein at the part of both ears and nose. This is drone that carries from air. By new bird type influenza pandemic H7N9, approximately 300 million people are feared to be victimized. This presentation proposes preemptive attack against pandemic Operation Backfire. Against H7N9, Operation Backfire is expected to reduce number of victims to less than 1,000, as it will be less virulent than new influenza H1N1. Infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine for H7N9 should now be prepared. Influenza patients of wild-type new influenza or of seasonal influenza or of artificial pandemic can be determined from the specimen of patients by green fluorescence as mentioned later. Infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine is prepared prior to man-to-man infection become dominant, and it is to be infected as many people as possible. Artificial pandemic will be caused as nobody has immunity against it, and the basic immunity is created in many people. It may prevent wide outbreak of new influenza. Live attenuated H7N9 influenza virus vaccine for ferret is already created and injected intranasally, and it can be found in the internet here. And live attenuated influenza vaccine is not infectious, can be made strongly infectious without making it dangerous. Can it be made strongly infectious without making it dangerous? Initiation of Operation Backfire. It should be started as it is ready. If artificial pandemic overlaps with wild-type pandemic, reassortation, that is a mixture of RNA, may happen in patient cell infected to both of them simultaneously. It should avoid influenza season of winter as well by the same reason. If infection is done intensively, artificial pandemic will be finished within 2 months worldwide. That means that initiation on April or on September, it will increase virulence as 1918 Spanish influenza did during long period of transmission around the world. Especially vulnerable people, for example, soldiers, students, people in slums, medical staffs, and people engaged in lifelines, policemen, firemen, and officials of politics are to be eagerly infected by spray of live vaccine virus on the nose. As infectious live attenuated vaccine is incubated in nasal mucosal cancer, airborne transmission seems to be dominant and strongly infectious between people. If infectious attenuated live vaccine for H7N9 is infected to many people over the world, artificial pandemic occurs, as many people over the world will have basic immunity against H7N9, wild-type outbreak of new influenza H7N9 may not occur. Even if wild-type man-to-man transmission of H7N9 may occur, number of victims will be in the order of seasonal influenza. The method to create infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine. Ferrets are infected with human influenza and men are infected influenza from ferrets. 1. Nasal mucosa of ferret is made cancer by carcinogen, for example, by benzopyrene. Nasal mucosal cancer cells are easier to incubate compared to normal cells. These mucosal cancer cells are to be made certain to be infected to human influenza virus. 2. Wild bird influenza virus is to be attenuated by reverse genetics. This reverse genetics technique is already established. The virus is made to produce green fluorescence protein, labeled by its RNA by green fluorescent protein making part. 4. Attenuated bird influenza virus is to be sprayed to incubated cancer cells. This process is to be achieved to many samples, and fine samples in which virus can increase by mutation. This is made certain by green fluorescence protein. 5. Make certain that this virus can infect live ferrets, and also make certain that symptoms of ferrets are not serious. Virus with greatest viral titer is to be selected as seed virus, and this was made certain by green fluorescence protein. 6. Make certain that ferrets infected by attenuated virus are not infected with bird influenza, or even if infected, symptoms are not serious. 7. Make certain that these viruses are transmitted easily between ferrets and transmitted easily between human volunteers. Make also certain that symptoms of human volunteers are not serious, as nasal mucosal cancer cells are used for incubation. Airborne transmission seems to be easy. 8. Virus passed above mentioned all tests are taken as seed virus of infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine. 9. Frequently check as below if nature of virus is not changed during incubation in cancer cells, and make certain that it yields green fluorescence. 10. Checking point. 10.1. Infectious attenuated vaccine is easily transmitted between live ferrets, causing no serious symptoms. 10.2. Ferrets infected attenuated live vaccine are not easily infected by bird influenza, and even if infected, show no serious symptoms. 10.3. Live attenuated vaccine can be easily transmitted from ferrets to human volunteers and causes no serious symptoms. Next, method to increase infectious attenuated vaccine and to distribute all over the world. Quality of infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine should be kept assured concerning its infectivity, effectiveness against wild bird influenza, and minimal virulence. If one's low-quality infectious vaccine were infected to men, it will result pandemic with miserable results. Seed of vaccine should be kept only in limited central facilities, while incubation of cancer cells of ferrets should be kept widely in the world with considerable quality assurance. Contamination by bacteria and virus should be avoided. Change of cancer cell nature also should be avoided as well. Cancer cells in the world facility should often be replaced by ones sent from central facilities. In the case of initiation of Operation Backfire, live vaccine is transferred from central facilities to cancer cell incubation facilities in the world and increased. Live vaccine is sprayed to the nostrils of people, especially vulnerable young people, soldiers, students, and pupils. To new influenza have priority. People in slums also have priority. If artificial infection is achieved to a certain number of people, live vaccine is transferred from people to people, and basic immunity is thus obtained by many people. Patients of the respiratory system and pregnant women are to be inoculated with inactivated vaccine of virus of Operation Backfire prior to initiation of Operation Backfire. But if natural outbreak of pandemics seem to be very near, we have not sufficient time for inoculation. Otherwise, many vulnerable young people to new influenza have to be sacrificed. Influenza patients with wild-type new influenza or seasonal influenza or of artificial pandemic can be determined from the specimen of patients by green fluorescence. Drone. To reinforce infection, drones may be used in slums, but not in markets. Although many people exist in market, but many live birds are sold and they may have influenza virus, and mixture of RNA of influenza happens and makes it situation complex. Yes, drones may be used to widely distribute infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine protected by capsule easily melted on mucous membrane of a human being. 11.1. Viruses are transmitted airborne easily between volunteer people and cause no serious symptoms. That is a checking point. 11.2. Ferrets already infected by live vaccine many weeks or months ago are not easily infected to wild-type bird virus, and even if infected, the symptom is not serious. Remark 1. Highly virulent influenza virus kills cancer cells of ferret, so this system cannot be used for producing biological weapons and can be used only for peaceful purposes. Remark 2. Infectious attenuated live influenza vaccine should be prepared for H5N1, H5N8, and H10N8, as well as H7N9, and they should cause artificial pandemics serially in time intervals of a few years. Cooperation of many people, researchers, companies, institute, organizations, nations, and especially international cooperation seem to be necessary for achieving Operation Backfire. Successfully to save many people from wild new influenza pandemic. They may fear that kinds of seasonal influenza will be increased, but due to unclear reason, number of seasonal influenza is limited. Presently existing seasonal influenza of only two kinds. Can universal flu vaccine be made infectious, and can it be used for Operation Backfire? If so, many people, mainly in developing countries, will be saved from dangerous new influenza. Your comments and criticisms are welcome. Thank you for your attention. And finally, references. 1. Reference 1. Zonglin Chen, Mariana Bass, Jenny Liu et al. Development of a high-yield live attenuated H7N9 influenza virus vaccine that provides protection against homologous and heterologous H7 wild-type viruses in ferrets. This can be found in internet. 2. Basabaraji Sajanar, reverse genetics and its application. This is an established technique and that can be also found in internet. Reference 3. A. Chandrasekaran, A. Srinivasan, R. Raman et al. Glycan topology determines human adaptation of avian H5N1 virus hemagglutinin. Nature Biotechnology, Springer, Nature, London, 26, page 107. I don't know exactly. The publication date is 2008. 4. Reference 4. Quinton, Full Associate History of Influenza, Northumberland Publisher, London, 2008. 5. Masaki Imai, Tokiko Watanabe, Maki Kiso et al. A highly pathogenic avian H7N9 influenza virus isolated from a human is lethal in some ferrets infected by a respiratory droplet. This can also be found in internet. 6. Universal Influenza Vaccine Research, National Institute of Health. This can also be found in internet. 7. Y. Hayakawa, Stop New Flu Pandemic. This is a video in YouTube. And reference 8. Y. Hayakawa, Proposal of Artificial Pandemics by Infectious Attenuated Live Influenza Vaccine to Save the World from Dangerous Wild-Type New Influenza Pandemic. Operation Backfire. This can also be found in the internet. Thank you for your attention.